So far, we've made sure that the snare and kick avoid each other. But when it comes to instruments that produce a tone or have notes, it can be very pleasing to sync them together. And we're going to learn about syncing the kick and the bass together in this video. Stay tuned. Okay, so everything that we've developed so far, I'm going to scrap. And the reason being, except for the snare, I'm going to keep that, is I want to build things from the ground up with syncing the kick and the bass together when we create them. So let's create a kick region, and we'll also create an 808 region. We'll make it 4 bars for each. They're already color coded properly and everything like that. And so what we're going to do is let's move the chords down again, and I'll put it right there so that we can see where the chords change, because that's going to be important. So let's do the bass first. So we have A, so A3 was too high, A1 is okay, I'll do A2. And then our next chord changes here. So that's where I'm going to put G. Our next chord is going to be F right here. And then our 4th chord is going to be C. And we can just repeat that for the next 2 bars. And I can extend these. Perfect. All right, so our bass is done now. So now let's go to the kick, and for the kick, I'm going to go to the piano roll. I'm going to enter notes like this. And the kick, if you remember, is on C1. You can check to see what the notes are by clicking on these piano keys here. That's the kick, snare, snare. This is going to be a clap, hi-hat, open hi-hat. Okay, and so on and so forth. Cymbals up here. Okay, so we're looking to see where the chords change, because that's where we want to place a kick. So I'm going to place a kick right there, and I'll shorten this up. We always need to place a kick on beat 1. So you can still use the patterns to create the rest of your pattern. You're just going to use the piano roll to make sure that the kick, so you can see here's our kick track. So every time there's a bass note, we have a kick there. So I have a bass note changing there, and also there, and also there, and so on and so forth. Now, because this is just a copy, I can just do that, and I can see that the bass and the kick are lined up now. So now I can go back to my patterns and I can fill in the rest. So let's go to bar 13. You can see where they exist on the grid. If you take a look here, the bass note for A minor starts on beat 1. The bass note for G major starts on the and of beat 2. Then the bass note for F major starts on bar 14, beat 1. And the bass note for C major starts on the and of beat 2 in bar 14. So now I can go and just kind of create my bass line, or sorry, my kick rhythm, and I'll just do the same pattern for the entire time. There we have it. So let's take a listen to what this sounds like. Move the cycle region over to here. So we can hear that every time a kick hits, or every time the bass changes, I should say, the kick hits at the same time. So there is a syncing between them, and this is good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new track, and it's going to be another bass track. So let's go to instrument, and right here we're going to select guitar and bass. And this time we're going to choose a synth bass, and we can listen through them right here. I already kind of know which one I want to use, so I'm just going to look for that instead of kind of playing through all these. I think I know which one I want to use. It's not that one. Okay, there it is. So deep bass vintage tape. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a region in the verse. So let's move our cycle region over to the first 4 bars of the verse, and we'll create our region right there. So you notice that I use, so this, I'm just going to call this light bass. And we're going to color this dark blue. And let's move this like that, so 4 bars. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to copy the snare over to here, and I'm going to make up a new kick. So let's right click here, create region. Let's make it 4 beats. And our kick, remember, needs to follow when the chords change. So the chord changes here. So we're going to create a kick on beat 1. The chord changes right here. So there's also going to be a kick right there. This is for my F major chord, and this will be for my C major chord. And so I'm simply lining up the playhead to where the chords change and placing a kick right there. So no matter what the rhythm of the chords are for the song, where the chords exist, the kick should always fit where that happens. Okay, so now that we have our kick in place, I'm actually going to leave this. This is going to be a nice light kick with just 2 notes in each bar. Maybe I'll add one more. So let's go to patterns and just add one more quick note. I'll leave this one simple, and I'll just add them in this one. So it's an A, B pattern. And so now we can go to our piano roll for the bass, and we're going to add our notes. So we need A. And for some reason, I'm not hearing the instrument. So I think we didn't select it properly. So let's go back to bass, and this one was called Deep Bass Vintage Tape. Changing track type or rest of the contents. Okay, sure. Okay. This is the first time I've seen this message, but that's fine. Okay, so it's called Deep Bass Vintage Tape. I'm just going to call it light bass. All right, so it looks like it destroyed my region, and that's fine. I'll just recreate it, make it 4 bars long. So you can see Soundtrap does some very strange things sometimes, but that's fine. We work with it, we roll with it. And let's go back and use the Alt key. So I have A, G, and then right here I have F, and then C. I can use that C or the lower C. I'll use the higher ones. And then I can just copy paste. So we can see our kicks and our bass are lined up. Now, one thing that I want to show you with this is if we want to make a lighter bass, first of all, it's important to choose a sound that's lighter. But another way that we can try and make things lighter is by shortening up the notes. So if I make the notes longer, it feels heavier. If I make the notes shorter, it feels lighter. And so listen to what I'm saying, just by hearing, and I'll move this up so we can make it closer. So I'll put the kick, the snare, and the bass. So I want you to hear the difference between this and then the chorus. Okay, so that was the verse. That's with our lighter bass. Now listen to our heavier bass. Number 1, 808 is a heavier instrument than this. Number 2, the notes are being held longer. And then our kick pattern is also more energetic. So overall, this is a heavier section. Okay, so that's one technique that I use sometimes with verses, is I'll just make the basses nice and short. Okay, but you can make them longer. You can do a mix and match of whatever. It doesn't have to be that short. For example, it could be, say, four slots long. Play around with it and see what you like. Or maybe I make this one really, really short, and then the second half, as the energy is growing, I make them longer. So maybe these ones get held all the way. It's all about energy increasing towards that chorus. So listen to how it sounds now. Really short. Okay, and so I'm gonna split this. Now, I've shown you how to merge regions. If you right click here, we can actually split a region. So maybe I'll save this one for over here. Okay, the longer one, and then I'll join these together. So merge, and then I'll use the short one over here and join these together. So I just quickly created two bass sections. Okay, and I'm gonna copy these over as well. Okay, so listen to how this kind of progresses. Okay, so this feels a little bit heavier than our lighter bass, but you can see how big a difference the longer notes plays. When this has longer notes, it feels almost as heavy as this does. All right, let's hear it with the rest of the instruments.
Watch out, they said I won't see you coming. Once I for sure, one blink now we're standing face to face. And I'm hesitant to open no call, no direction. I get in ahead of myself. You're smiling cause you know you got my attention. Now it's up to me. You're looking at me and I can't go stare. Right there, right there. I'm coming for you, so be patient, dear. Just stay right there.
Okay, and so on and so forth. I actually prefer to have this lighter one again. And then just save the longer ones for the chorus. So that's it. We've successfully synced the kick with the bass. And I showed you how to create the two together so that they would sync up nicely. So now it's your job to make your kick and your bass regions sync together. See you in the next one.